What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I think I'm going to be doing a valve adjustment on the 1600 dual port that is ultimately, hopefully, going to go in the 1960 BMW Sport Coupe 700. This motor came out of a Volkswagen Thing that my friend Kyle Golding is restoring for a client of his, and they built a brand new motor from the ground up using period correct German parts and spent thousands and thousands of dollars on a rebuild. Well, this motor is the one that came out of it. And when the Thing came to him, it was a running, driving vehicle that he drove for, I don't know, some time, a week or two or whatever, and basically pulled it out and left it dressed until I bought it. And you guys saw in the last episode, I did a bunch of top-end modification to this motor by way of pulling the old shroud with the old oil cooler relocation casing, putting the old 1500 oil cooler in it so I could fit this South American Puma shroud on it, which has a much lower height overall than the original shrouds that we got here in America. This is all basically so it fits underneath the trunk lid of the 700. I mean, technically it's the hood because the 700 was originally a two-cylinder rear-engined air-cooled car as well. But now, many of you guys already know, this car is sitting on a shortened Volkswagen Beetle pan with a 1500 single port motor in it. That being said, it's a rocket ship for what it is. Going from a two-cylinder to four-cylinder, it is quite a little go-kart. But I've had some head issues in this. I think I've got a couple stuck valves, and instead of putting heads on this motor for right now, since the 1600 won't work in the Auto Union project, which is also going over a Beetle pan, I'm going to put the dual port in the 700. So since I don't know when the last time the valves were checked on this motor, I'm going to do that now before it gets in the car, and it's easier to get around it. Other than that, Kyle said the thing ran great. I might just pull plugs and see what the plugs look like. Plug wires look great. I might not touch anything else on it. I put my 90 amp alternator and alternator stand oil fill on it in the last episode. So today, valve adjustment, make sure that's all good to go. And that's probably all this episode will be. We'll just do a quick short one. Since this project and all the projects here in the shop would like to be just daily vlogs, just showing you guys what I'm tinkering on here in the shop. So today, that's what's on the burner. Well, this is great. These gaskets look brand new, so that's good. I was curious as to what kind of condition these were going to be in. Both of them look great. Don't think I'll need to replace those. All right, so as you can see, this has an aftermarket crank pulley on it, and most of these aftermarket ones have your degree marks, including your top dead center mark right there. And what we're going to do is I'm going to bring that top dead center right up to the casing here on the block. So I'm going to get that to top dead center. Normally you've got a big nut, 30 something millimeter here, but with this aftermarket one, they put kind of like a beauty bolt on there. But you can see here it's got a square hole in it, and that is for a 3/8 ratchet or extension. So we'll use a 3/8 ratchet to turn the motor. It'll be much easier that way. We're at number 1. So what I'm essentially going to do is I'll probably go counterclockwise to get the firing order to go this way on the distributor. And that'll mean it'll basically fire in 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've got cylinders 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that way I'm just doing 2 on one side and 2 on the other. All right, quick run to the post office and the afternoon coffee. Normally around 3 p.m. running into town for an afternoon coffee. But the packages in the back are for the Patreon members. Because as I'm filming this, the hoodie drop hasn't gone public yet. It's still on the Patreon only. I really appreciate most of you guys actually putting in some orders for these early before the live drop. But as you guys are seeing this, the drop is live. and hopefully there's some left. It is a small drop this time around, but I will be doing a second batch pretty shortly, as soon as this first batch is sold out. So basically taking this part of the episode to plug the web store, ludwigsgarage.com. The link for the web store and the Patreon are both in the video's description below. I really appreciate all of you guys' support on the channel and everything going on here in the shop. All right, we're back in the shop. Now, to get on adjusting these valves. So basically, if you're unfamiliar with this process, I'm basically going to be putting a feeler gauge in between the rocker arm and the top of the lifter. And normally these 1600s call for 6 thousandths. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a feeler gauge, I'm going to set it to 6 thousandths, and I'm going to basically make sure it's got just a little bit of drag in between the two. It's better to have them a little looser than too tight. I have seen on the internet people call for 4 thousandths, or some books actually call for 4 thousandths, but a lot of people I've seen run them to 6 thousandths, and then from there they might tighten up with wear. So better to set them at 6 than 4 and have them tighten over use, in my opinion. So that's what I'm going to do today, is I'm going to set them to 6. So this is cylinder 1 here, and I've got my marks at top dead center. I'm on cylinder 1 at top dead center. I'll put my feeler gauge in there and we'll see where we're at. That one feels pretty good. There's a little bit of drag on the feeler gauge. This one here, that one's a little tight, so we're going to loosen that one up just a smidgen. So I'll get my set nut here loose, and then I'll make my adjustment on the screw. Just a little bit of drag. All right, that feels pretty good for cylinder 1. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees. I'm going to go counterclockwise to go to cylinder 2, backwards from firing order, so I can just keep working on that side of the motor. If you were going to do it in order of firing order, you'd go 180 degrees clockwise, and that would bring us over here to cylinder 4. If you don't have a crank pulley that has all the hash marks on it, like a stock pulley or something, put a straight edge across your top dead center indent, because it'd be an indent in the factory pulley, and mark 180 degrees out. So when you rotate either way, you'll know when you've got 180 degrees. That's about 180 degrees. And now I'll just make sure on the cap we are at cylinder 2. And we are. So we're pointed back to cylinder 2. All right, we're over here on cylinder 2. I mean, that one might be okay. This is 6 thousandths. If this was 4 thousandths, it'd feel real loose. All right, cylinder 2 seems good. Now we're going to continue counterclockwise, 180 degrees out, and we'll move on to cylinder 3. Looks to be about right on cylinder 3. That one's probably okay. So I think man, I don't know. That one feels okay too. Yeah, I'd say number 3 is okay. So we'll go to number 4, and that'll be our last cylinder. All right, last one. All right, so I made sure my rotor was pointed towards cylinder 4 in the distributor cap, underneath the distributor cap. These feel pretty good. That one doesn't have much drag, but I don't know if that should be tightened up or not. Yeah, maybe we'll back that one off just a smidgen. So although this isn't a tutorial video on how to adjust your valves in a 1600 dual port, they do recommend you do them between 3,000 and 6,000 miles. I mean, I hear a lot of Volkswagen guys say that their adjusting their valves every oil change, which would be around every 3,000 miles. I did not follow that maintenance schedule with the 1500, so I can only imagine, especially with a stuck valve, what those tolerances look like right now. So I'm definitely at fault for that. I let a lot of other projects take over and didn't stay on top of that. I knew one cylinder had bad compression when I first started, was able to get that valve loosened up, and the thing ran like a sewing machine for a long time. 2019, I had it everywhere, and I drove it a lot, and it ran like a sewing machine. It started better than any car I had. Give it a couple pumps to the throttle, and it would start first crank every time. Went down the road great. And then I think that valve finally gave up. That's just my speculation, but it hasn't run quite right in a while. Gonna end the video there, just a quick one. It's what I had going on in the shop today. I'm still working on the Eurotripper awards on the laser machine. Eurotripper is next weekend. As I'm filming this, it's Thursday, and we're leaving a week from today, about 10 to 12 hour drive down to South Florida to Fort Myers for Eurotripper 10th anniversary. Next episode will definitely be dropping that motor. First and foremost, taking the exhaust off and making sure the exhaust will bolt up to this motor with no problems, and then taking this one out, putting that one in, and hoping we don't hit any major snags. And from there, doing a ton of content with this car, because I can't wait to drive it again. And I'm really kind of excited to see what that 1600 feels in this car in relation to the single port that's been in it since we finished the car. So I hope to see some of you guys at Eurotripper. It's going to be a great weekend to get back to South Florida and hopefully experience some warm weather, warmer than here in Chattanooga at least. If you've picked up one of the new hoodies, thank you guys so much for all the support. Hit the ludwigsgarage.com link in the video's description below to check on stock. There might be some left in some sizes. It was a small batch, so I'm not sure at this point if there's any left. But thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next episode with some more BMW 700 content.